The Abduction of Persephone, a tale of seasons and divine bonds. Long ago, when gods and mortals lived in harmony, Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest and fertility, brought life and joy to the earth. With her radiant beauty and innocent laughter, she wandered the meadows of the mortal world, her footsteps scattering blossoms and painting the fields with color. Her days were carefree, filled with the warmth of her mother's love and the blessings of endless spring. But in the shadowed depths of the underworld, Hades, the god of the dead, watched her from afar. Though he ruled the land of the dead, his heart was moved by her light, and a longing he could not suppress began to consume him. He knew she would never choose his somber kingdom of her own will, and so he turned to Zeus, king of the gods and Persephone's father, for permission to take her. One fateful morning, as Persephone roamed alone in a sunlit meadow, her eyes fell upon a narcissus unlike any she had seen. Its petals gleamed like polished gold, and its fragrance was irresistible. As she reached out to pluck it, the ground beneath her feet quaked and split open. From the gaping chasm emerged Hades in a chariot of gleaming obsidian, pulled by black, fire-eyed horses. Before Persephone could scream or flee, he swept her into his arms and disappeared into the earth, the rift ceiling shut as quickly as it had opened. The meadow fell silent, the flowers withered, and the sunlight dimmed. Persephone found herself in the underworld, a land of eternal twilight, surrounded by shadows and the soft glow of asphodel fields. Though frightened and grieving, her divine nature allowed her to endure, and in time, she began to see the loneliness in Hades' eyes. He treated her with reverence, offering her the throne of the underworld beside him, but she refused to eat or speak, her thoughts only of her mother and the world above. Meanwhile, Demeter scoured the earth, her grief turning to fury as she called out to the rivers, the mountains, and the winds, demanding to know where her daughter had gone. For 9 days and nights, she searched without rest, her sorrow bringing drought and famine to the mortal world. Crops withered, rivers ran dry, and humanity cried out in desperation. At last, the sun god Helios, who sees all, revealed what had happened. Hades had taken Persephone, and Zeus had allowed it. Enraged, Demeter abandoned Olympus and roamed the earth in mourning, disguising herself as a mortal. In her absence, the world grew barren and mortals began to starve. Fearing the destruction of humanity and the waning of their worship, Zeus sent Hermes, the swift messenger god, to the underworld to negotiate Persephone's release. Hades, though unwilling to part with his queen, agreed to let her return to her mother, but not before offering her pomegranate seeds, knowing the ancient laws decreed that anyone who consumed food from the underworld was bound to it forever. Unaware of the trap, Persephone ate 6 seeds. When she finally reunited with Demeter, the earth burst back to life, flowers bloomed, and the fields turned green once more. But their joy was short-lived when Zeus decreed that Persephone must spend 1 month in the underworld for each seed she had eaten. Thus, Persephone was condemned to divide her time, 6 months with Hades in the underworld and 6 months with her mother on earth. During the months when Persephone walked among the living, Demeter's joy brought bountiful harvests and warmth. But when she descended back to the underworld, Demeter's grief turned the world cold and barren, giving rise to autumn and winter. Though the cycle was bittersweet, Persephone grew into her role, becoming both the queen of the underworld and a symbol of rebirth and renewal. Her story became a timeless allegory of the balance between life and death, light and darkness, and the eternal bond between mother and child.